4 men arrested in connection with an alleged terror plot to disrupt Trinidad and Tobago's carnival. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Friday, February 9. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Ricardo Roberts. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Police in Trinidad and Tobago have detained 4 people suspected of plotting to cause terror during the carnival celebrations scheduled to kick off into high gear Friday evening. Speaking at an emergency press briefing on Thursday afternoon, Acting Superintendent of Police Michael Jackman said lawmen had acted on credible information about the threat.
Trinidad and Tobago Police Service has unearthed credible information of a threat to disrupt carnival activities.
And it came mere days before thousands take to the streets for uninhibited revelry. On Carnival Thursday, the TTPS called an urgent news conference to update the media on its findings. Acting Assistant Superintendent Michael Jackson, the TTPS's information officer, told reporters that several men are in police custody.
Given the nature of the information received, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service found it necessary to detain several persons of interest.
CNC3 understands that police raided an El Socorro property for guns and ammunition on Thursday morning and detained a man for questioning in relation to an alleged terrorist attack. 3 other men were detained in other exercises in connection to the plot, which may have also targeted the U.S. Embassy. Asked to confirm that information, ASP Jackson would say nothing more.
What I can say at this time is that 4 persons are presently detained and are being interviewed by members of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service.
When asked to confirm the identities of the 4 men and whether the attacks were planned for Carnival Monday or Tuesday, ASP Jackson declined, saying only that the TTPS is working closely alongside the Defense Force to ensure a safe carnival for all citizens and visitors. He had this advice for those participating in carnival activities.
The public, as usual, they should remain vigilant, alert of their surroundings, and if they should see anything that appears suspicious, they should do as they have done in the past and report it to members of the TTPS.
CNC3 understands one of the men detained by police was previously detained in Saudi Arabia under suspicion of being a terrorist.
And that report from Ria Rambali of CNC3 News. And although police did not release the identities of the men who were detained in the matter, media reports have linked one to a mosque which was searched on Thursday. And the Islamic Front in Trinidad and Tobago is strongly condemning what it describes as the flagrant and wanton disregard of citizens by police. In a statement issued on Friday, it said the searches on the mosques were juvenile, baseless, and a clear indication of the vendetta and dislike of the state towards Muslims in the country and the disrespect and abuse meted out to a number of Muslim men from various parts of the country. Islamic Front leader Umar Abdullah said the cowardly and dastardly actions by the state and specifically the police must not be forgotten by the Muslim community. He said lawmen's actions were unconstitutional and he warned that the country was sliding into a dictatorship. The Islamic Front accused authorities of continuing to further oppress and target members of the Muslim community, specifically those who have contributed significantly to the population of Islam, the society as a whole, and in mass charity efforts in the country. And meantime, in reaction to the news about the terror plot, the Canadian, United States and British authorities warned their nationals to be careful during the carnival. In its advisory, the British government said there was an increased threat of terrorist activity in the country, and despite the detention of suspects, an attack was still possible. It warned its nationals to remain vigilant and to avoid crowded places. The U.S. Embassy in its message said while Port of Spain was taking steps to deal with the security situation, it was urging U.S. government personnel to exercise additional caution and increased situational awareness if they plan to participate in carnival activities. Canada issued a similar statement. And the legal challenge to a legislation banning same-sex marriage in Bermuda is in the works. Former Attorney General Mark Pettingill says his law firm has been instructed by a client who he did not named to pursue the action in the Supreme Court. Hybel Davies of ZBM Network News has that story.
Within 24 hours of the governor giving his assent to the controversial domestic partnership bill, it already faces the prospect of a legal challenge.
We were instructed this morning to pursue a potential legal challenge. So, we have those instructions from an individual. And the next step is to consider, where and when and how to bring about that process. Certainly Section 15 of the Constitution gives the right to an individual who feels they are aggrieved as a result of their rights under the Constitution being infringed to bring an action in the Supreme Court.
The identity of the client who will be responsible for bringing the case before the island's highest court is not being revealed yet. But Mr. Pettingill says the legal action will begin within weeks or even days. Supporters of the Domestic Partnership Act point out that it does give gay couples the right to a civil partnership and many legal protections. But Mr. Pettingill says that's not true equality.
People like myself, and I think, others on the human rights issue say there cannot be a middle ground and that you cannot cherry pick on human rights, that, they are there across the board for everybody, including every provision of service. So every human being is entitled to the same right and services as every other human being, regardless of their sexual orientation. That includes the right to the service of a contractual marriage.
The legislation has prompted an international Twitter campaign called #BoycottBermuda, with hundreds of people retweeting the phrase and many saying they will not visit the island. What seems to have offended many people is that gay marriage was legal in Bermuda from May last year before being banned. British MP Chris Bryant says the move is a mistake.
150 years ago, lots of people in this country thought that slavery was fine, never thought to question it. And I suspect that in 100 years' time, people will turn around and go, what on earth were people saying? What were they thinking? What was going through their heads when they decided that some people were second-class citizens and shouldn't be treated equally under the law to everybody else?
For those hoping the same-sex marriage debate may have been settled by the governor yesterday, it looks like disappointment lies ahead. Even if the Supreme Court here rules in favour of the government, law experts say they'll fight for their case in higher courts in Britain and Europe.
Meantime, other British MPs were visibly upset about Bermuda's reversal of same-sex marriage. The situation dominated debate in the House of Commons on Thursday.
Following a year when Australia and Chile have joined the march towards marriage equality, this legislation is a significant step backwards. For that to happen anywhere in the world would be shameful. But for it to happen in a British territory, with the legislation signed by a British governor and permitted by a British Foreign Secretary, that, Mr. Speaker, makes us complicit in something which this House has repeatedly voted against.
The first slaves were brought to Bermuda in 1620, oppressed, segregated, discriminated against. And that is why leaders like Nelson Mandela, Desmond Tutu and Barack Obama have not just fought for race rights, they fought for rights of lesbian, gay and bisexual people. This country has been one of the world leaders on this subject. So if this is not the issue on which to refuse assent, I don't know which is. It is a shame that we stand on the wrong side of human rights in Parliament this morning.
Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, opposition legislators in the Bahamas are boycotting Senate sit-ins. We'll tell you why after the break.
Come and experience fun, meet amazing people, and enjoy fantastic food at the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival. 5 days of festivities from June 27th to July 1st of 2018, with main stage performances from the 28th to the 30th. Here's the first wave of confirmed acts. The legendary Patti LaBelle, Queen of Dancehall, Spice, Miss Lauryn Hill. Many more acts to be announced. Book now and save the date. For more information, log on to StKittsMusicFestival.net. The St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other.
with us through our ocean blues, where there's a blessed land that's waiting for you. Shh. Look, listen, feel. Realize your dream escape that's magically surreal. The best kept secret, a place you'll never forget, where adventure beckons with every gentle footstep. From lush mountain green to warm volcanic sand, submerged in splendor, our 32 enchanting islands. A kaleidoscope of experiences. No need to look anymore. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Caribbean you're looking for.
You got to be there, you got to be there. You got to be there at the relay fair. Plenty speed, plenty action, stand, spot, steam it to come from the track. The Barbados Relay Fair, Saturday, February 10th at the National Stadium from 10 a.m. Admission $20 with family packages available. Teams from Guyana, St. Vincent, Grenada, Bermuda, Trinidad, and Guadeloupe competing against the best local talent. Your sponsors are Ensure, Colgate, Oliver Ranch, CMC, Williams Industries, Seidel, Sports and Gang, Burger King, Elite Sports, Caribbean Sports Management Enterprises, Regional Management Services, and Nuts and Bolts Nutrition. Remember to follow us at Barbados Relay Fair on Instagram.
The Bahamas' main opposition Progressive Liberal Party, the PLP, says its members will remain out of the Senate until the decision to suspend some of its legislators in the House of Assembly is reversed. Earlier this week, House Speaker Halson Moultrie suspended opposition leader Philip Davis and 3 other PLP MPs, including Glenys Hannah Martin, for 2 sit-ins. And Davis has accused the Herbert Minnis administration of trying to kill democracy.
Government, right, is inspiring the speaker, and they are a part of this conspiracy, I call it, right, to put a death knell in the system of democracy in this country.
The MPs who were suspended were joined by a small but vocal group who gathered to protest the suspension of Hannah Martin last week. Hannah Martin, still feeling slighted after being named for comments she says she never made, charged that government is accountable for what transpired in the House, calling it an attempt to quiet dissent in the country.
There's a very strong message being sent in that parliament. They violated the rules, they shut down debate, they've quieted dissenting voices, that we are looking at something that is very frightening in the Bahamas. I am urging Bahamians to scrutinize and to stand up. We will not tolerate it in this country. No.
That report from Cleopatra Murphy of ZNS Network News. Still in the Bahamas, the government has dismissed reports of a spike in tuberculosis cases. Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands sought to assure there was no major outbreak after 17 of 81 people recently tested were found to have TB.
Those results, according to the international standards, did not allow for or cause concern or public panic. I wish to assure the public that the Ministry of Health will continue to conduct the prescribed TB screenings throughout the country as required. As Minister of Health, I am compelled to dispel public panic and fear by informing that the Bahamas has a stellar public health record, that every necessary protocol will be taken to identify and address any new cases that we find.
The Dominica government is assuring that the report on a review of the island's police service will not be a secret document, and it's dismissing social media posts that the review has called for the dismissal of the Commissioner of Police and his deputy in the public's interest. Late last year, the National Security Minister Rayburn Blackmore said the Roosevelt-Skerritt administration was undertaking a review of the island's police service with the intention of assessing the functional services and effectiveness of the law enforcement agency. He said the review, undertaken by a team led by Colonel Jamie Ogleville of the Jamaica Defense Force, would also allow for recommendations for the improvement and strengthening of the Dominica Police Force.
I made it public that a functional review has been done of the police force. And that report is not going to be a secret document. And I can say that once all the contents have been analyzed, what needs to be done will be done. And we'll make a determination as to how we move forward. But to come out to the public to speak about the report would have not been fully read, would have been totally irresponsible.
The post on the social media network said the team made several recommendations, including the immediate removal of the 2 lawmen and major immediate changes at the helm of the force. It was also claimed that the report, which was submitted to government on February 1st, was critical of the police role in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria. But Blackmore says that it would have been totally irresponsible for the authorities to have made any public statement on a report that has not yet been fully read.
The thing is to ensure that we do what we have to do as a government and as a country to ensure that we have a police force that is responsive to the needs of the public, because the police department is accountable to the public. And then we have to do everything possible to ensure that public trust and confidence is restored between the police and the public. What has to be done, as well, from the Prime Minister, has to be done in terms, because I mean we have to ensure to have a full appreciation of a civilized country. All the relevant arms of the government have to be fully functional, and the police force being no exception.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, a widening impasse between the Jamaica Bobsleigh Federation and the Japanese manufacturer. The details when we return.
Come and experience fun, meet amazing people, and enjoy fantastic food at the 22nd Annual Seconds Music Festival. 5 days of festivities from June 27th to July 1st of 2018, with main stage performances from the 28th to the 30th. Here's the first wave of confirmed acts. The legendary Patti LaBelle, Queen of Dancehall, Spice, Miss Lauryn Hill. Many more acts to be announced. Book now and save the date. For more information, log on to SakeItsMusicFestival.net. The Sake Music Festival, an experience like no other.
You got to be there, you got to be there. You got to be there at the relay fair. Plenty speed, plenty action, stand, spot, steam it to come from the track. The Barbados Relay Fair, Saturday, February 10th at the National Stadium from 10 a.m. Admission $20 with family packages available. Teams from Guyana, St. Vincent, Grenada, Bermuda, Trinidad, and Guadeloupe competing against the best local talents. Your sponsors are Ensure, Colgate, Paula Barange, CMC, Williams Industries, Seidel, Sports and Gang, Burger King, Elite Sports, Caribbean Sports Management Enterprises, Regional Management Services, and Nuts and Bolts Nutrition. Remember to follow us at Barbados Relay Fair on Instagram.
The Jamaica Bobsled Federation and a Japanese manufacturer are at loggerheads over the team's decision not to use a sled made by the Asian company. The Caribbean side is preparing for preparation in the Winter Olympics, which began Friday in Pyeongchang, and they have expressed concern that the Japanese-made sled poses a threat to their safety. But the manufacturer is charging that the federation is in violation of their contractual arrangement. Both parties have sought the advice of their attorneys in the matter.
Between the Jamaica Bobsleigh Federation and Japanese sled manufacturers Shitamachi is reaching fever pitch a day before the opening ceremony of the Winter Olympics. Speaking with TVJ Sports via telephone from Hong Kong earlier this evening, President of the Jamaica Bobsleigh Federation, Christian Stokes, provided the latest update as the lawyers for both sides are now in talks.
All I can say on the record to you, because I'm under orders from my attorney, is that we are in discussions with Shitamachi to resolve the issue.
A report by the Japanese Times quoted Junichi Osagai, an official with Chitamati, as saying that they have entered a stage where they must discuss legal issues. This as they explore the possibility of seeking compensation from the Jamaican team for breaching the contract between them. The question over the possible legal repercussion over Jamaica's alleged breach of contract with Chitamachi was put to Stokes.
We feel that within the contract, we have valid reasons to seek to resolve issues that have arisen that are not specifically mentioned in the contract.
Information reaching TVJ Sports is that Jamaica's team of Kari Russell, Audra Sigri and Jasmine Filetta Victorian used the Latvian manufactured sled for the last 4 of their 10 competitions to move up in the standings and eventually qualify for the Winter Olympics. While Stokes would not give any specifics as to why they are moving away from the Chitamati sled, TVJ Sports understands that the Japanese sled has failed 2 material checks and could prove unsafe for the athletes.
Switching sports now, Trinidad-based athletics club Cougars is going for the hat-trick in one of the region's premier athletics meet, the Barbados Relay Fair. Ken Fuentes of C Sports spoke to the club's coach, Kelvin Nanku, who is very optimistic about the team's chances in Barbados.
To be a champion, you have to prepare to beat your competition, and the Today Cougars Club were putting in the hard work to get it right in Barbados, where they aim to be champions once again.
We are going to attempt to win the Barbados Relay Fair 2018. We won it for 2 years and we're trying to do the hat-trick. It's very competitive. In fact, it has, for the first time, the Jamaicans are coming in. They have Bahamas, Canada, Grenada, St. Vincent, and also have some new people coming in from Argentina.
The experienced track and field coach said that despite the challenges for facilities during the carnival season, his club still got in the necessary training.
What we have done, we have asked permission. On 2 occasions, we have had camps at the Manny Ramjohn Stadium, one for 4 days and one for 3 days. So we ensure for Christmas, we're putting the pieces together, and only last week we finished our camp really for these games. We used the surface, we got the marks correct, we were really set, so now we're just staying ready and ensuring we are healthy enough to go on and perform and be successful on Saturday.
With added competition at this year's Relay Festival, Nanku believes they have what it takes to retain their title.
Very confident. I watched us on Saturday when we did some extensive work, and on Sunday. On 2 occasions, we broke the record. So I know beating us is going to be very difficult.
The Barbados Relay Festival takes place on Saturday at that country's national stadium, and the Cougars contingent is set to return home on Sunday night.
Bermuda's top 2 athletes, Flora Duffy and Tyler Butterfield, will lead the island's 8-member team at the Commonwealth Games to be staged on Australia's Gold Coast in April. 30-year-old Duffy is seeking her first Commonwealth Games medal at the 3rd attempt, and along with her 34-year-old Butterfield will participate in 2 events. Duffy, a medal favorite in the women's triathlon, having finished 8th in Melbourne in 2006, as well as in Glasgow for 4 years ago, will make the natural crossover into the mountain bike as a 4 times Terra world champion, while Butterfield will compete in the men's triathlon and marathon. They will join teenage triathletes Tyler Smith and Erica Hawley, who have also qualified for the individual races in the mixed relay, which has switched from an Olympic to a sprint distance. Bermuda's squad also includes 200-meter sprinters Trey Houston and Kyle Webb, along with Tyrone Smith and squash player Micah Franklin. Katura Horton Perrin Chief, who represented Bermuda in diving at the 2004 Olympic Games in Athens, will serve as chef de mission. And switching sports now, while Trinidad and Tobago is battling it out against the rest of the world for supremacy in the FIH Indoor Hockey World Cup, A former national player is calling on the country to get behind their team. Local Hockey Board President Douglas Camacho says while it is all well and good for TNT to qualify for another World Cup, there is a need for more support from corporate TNT. TV6's Vinod Nawani tells us more.
The fact that Trinidad and Tobago qualified for the Indoor Hockey World Cup is a big plus for a nation of approximately 1.3 million people. This, according to TNT Hockey Board President Douglas Camacho, who is proud of the Calypso Stickmen for making it to Germany, where the tournament is currently in progress.
Certainly for our nation, I think it shows you that not because we're small in numbers or small in geography, landmass size, that we can't be globally competitive. That's the first thing it demonstrates. This is our third in the Hockey Board's instance, our third World Cup appearance. Second time for the men, the ladies once. As you know, footballers made the World Cup, or netballers were once world champions. It shows that if there's the will and the structure and the discipline, that we could get this.
Camacho, who is a former TNT international, continues to play in club competition. He believes the sport of hockey, be it indoor or outdoor, is on the rise in Trinidad and Tobago.
In terms of the sport of...
And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Come, sail with us through our ocean blues, where there's a blessed land that's waiting for you. Shh. Look, listen, feel. Realize your dream escape that's magically surreal. The best kept secret, a place you'll never forget, where adventure beckons with every gentle footstep. From lush mountain green to warm volcanic sand, submerged in splendor, our 32 enchanting islands. A kaleidoscope of experiences. No need to look anymore. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Caribbean you're looking for.
Again, the major developments of this day: 4 men arrested in connection with an alleged terror plot to disrupt Trinidad and Tobago's carnival. And in sports, Jamaica Bobsleigh Federation and a Japanese manufacturer at an impasse over the team's decision not to use a sled made by the Asian company. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sports round the clock, log on to CarnaNews.com. We'll be back here again on Monday, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching. Have yourselves a good night.